Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka from 5 Minute Language. Welcome to 5 Minute Language. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So I've got a very popular video on my channel which is about how to sound more British, and I talk to you about all the tips I've got for developing a British accent. And many people actually comment on that video and tell me that they think my accent is really good. So I thought I would share with you more kind of general advice, no matter what language you're learning, on how to improve your accent in a foreign language. So let's get started. So when we talk about accent, we talk about three different things, I suppose. We talk about pronunciation, which is basically how you say the words. We talk about stress, which is which syllable is kind of emphasized in a word. And we also talk about intonation, so the kind of musicality of the language, the up and down, how the sentences kind of go up and go down, and the kind of rhythm that they follow. So when working on your accent, I definitely recommend that you sort of intentionally focus on each of those three areas: pronunciation, stress, and intonation. And you can practice each of them in different ways. So I'm going to start with intonation, which is quite important actually. And sometimes you can be quite a fluent and advanced language speaker, but you get your intonation right and things don't quite go the way you wanted them to. So people can actually misunderstand what you're saying or actually not understand anything if your intonation is really bad. So one method that I recommend for learning intonation is to listen to a recording of a native speaker, stop it after a sentence or so, and then mimic that sentence, but without using the actual words, but with just using one syllable sound. So for example, something like me. So for example, when I say I can speak English fluently, you can repeat that by saying me, 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 me. And that way you're kind of mimicking the intonation without focusing on the meaning, but just focusing on the intonation, on the musicality of the sentence. So the next one is stress, which is also incredibly important, especially in languages where stress determines meaning. So English is a good example of that because there are certain words that can be stressed on the first syllable or the second syllable. So if you stress it one way, it's a verb. If you stress it the other way, it's a noun. So people will understand things differently based on how you stress them. And one method for practicing stressing words is basically listening to the stress, where it falls, which syllable is emphasized, and then just clapping your hands. So that's essentially how I learned about syllables at school. So how I learned about syllables in my native language at school. We would basically clap for each syllable. But in this technique, when you're learning a foreign language, you can practice stress by clapping the syllable that is the strongest or the most kind of emphasized one. The next thing is generally practicing all the three elements together. So pronunciation, stress, and intonation. So the exercise I'm going to talk about involves recording yourself saying the same thing as somebody said in a recording. So you can find a YouTube video, for example, where a native speaker is saying something, and then you can open the transcript in YouTube and you can record yourself saying exactly the same thing. Then you basically watch the two recordings side by side and you can compare them. You can compare the native speaker with yourself, and when you analyze it in detail, you will notice things that you're saying differently to the native speaker, things that maybe sound a little bit weird to you, and you will definitely be able to identify some areas where you could improve. So that's especially useful when you don't really have anyone to give you feedback on your speaking, because if you want to improve your accent, you need to know where you're going wrong. And the reason why we're struggling with our accent or our pronunciation often is because we are trying our best, but we just don't know where the mistakes are. So when you do that kind of comparison exercise, I can assure you that you will spot your own mistakes, you will spot things that just don't sound right, and you can then focus on those areas when practicing. Okay, the next one is about letter combinations and how different letters are pronounced together. So often when we learn foreign languages, we know how individual letters are pronounced. We know the individual sounds and how they should be pronounced. But sometimes combinations of those sounds create something completely new and different. And focusing on those combinations is key to improving your accent. So for example, there might be some sounds that are actually silent, some silent letters, or some letters that are normally pronounced but they become silent in certain situations. So what I would recommend you do is listen to a very short recording. It can be something that's only 10 seconds long, and basically try to look at how the different letter combinations sound together. What happens between the words? So sometimes they blend together, sometimes there is a sound introduced between them that you didn't know was there. Sometimes things just sound completely separate, like two separate words. So try to observe those details, and that will help you understand how to pronounce different sounds and letters in different combinations. Okay, the next one is a bit of a theoretical one. So when you speak a foreign language, your mouth is doing some very specific things. And if you want to be pronouncing things correctly, your mouth needs to be doing things exactly how it's supposed to be doing it. So there's obviously a lot of kind of literature written about, what the mouth is doing when it's pronouncing different sounds, and you can actually look that up, and you can, read about the theory of, when you say the sound, the th sound in English, this is what, where your tongue is. You can read exactly about what happens when you pronounce that sound, and when you're aware of that, you will be able to then, when you speak, apply that knowledge and ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Should I be, rolling my arse, or should I be taking a breath between the words? That kind of thing. So when you read about it, it becomes clearer what you are actually supposed to be doing. And the final one, obviously, is listening to native speakers, listening and repeating and practicing speaking yourself. That's an obvious one, but I hope with these tips you will be able to improve your accent a little bit. Let me know in the comments below whether accent is something that you are intentionally working on, or whether it's something that you don't really care about very much. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. It really means a lot to me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!